Hey minions, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and on this episode of the Gauntlet, I want to talk about Magical Girl Russian Fairy Tales. This is the other combination in Unexpected Combos, a combination so surprising, I didn't even pick it. This is the one pairing I did not author myself. The selection actually came as a suggestion from Sonus, as I was fine-tuning the final picks and thrashing on them for weeks. So if the combination does terribly, it's his fault, but if they do really well, I get credit for being a good listener. I cannot recall playing or playing against this combination prior to his suggestion, but having played against this combination in a proof of concept game, I can confidently say that this team is incredibly annoying, but just below that rage quit level. On paper, it doesn't seem like there is a whole lot of overlap. The Magical Girls want minions on bases. The Russian Fairy Tales are primarily a transformation and counter faction, but they do help ensure that you always have minions in play. You have the Birch and the Birchwoman combo, which can recur forever. You need to break the combination by having both in the discard pile, but the Magical Girls excel at minion recursion. You also have Finnest, who never has to leave play unless you need him for power on the scoring base. While I maintain that antagonistic transformation is better than self-transformation, the Magical Girls actually do have decent targets for Baba Yaga. Their magic hats are almost guaranteed to increase in power, and they remove minions from the deck, which actually increases the certainty of what you are going to get. The one minion you have to be leery of is Toad, but Toad is optional and can remain yours. However, Toad is so easily recurred by the Lunar Captain to the point of insanity. You are going to Toad someone early and often as long as you draw it. As an engine faction, the Magical Girls benefit from deck manipulation that helps get them to their better cards faster. The Foolish Magicians provide this by allowing you to look 3 cards ahead at a time. The Russian Fairy Tales also have good card draw because of Go See My Sister, which triggers by play or by movement. The Magical Girls conveniently have talent-based movement that can keep this base from becoming too crowded, or routinely send your minions into that base to draw cards and queue up their signature swarm game plan. As far as minion recursion goes, the Russian Fairy Tales double down on it and make it easier to recur your best minions. In addition to Lunar Captain and her actions, you have 2 copies of Water of Life, so you can repeat the Magical Girl attack early and often, which is being boosted by the constant presence of Finnest and the Birchwoman. But what really makes this combination memorable is that they possess a rare set of counter cards that can be absolutely brutal if timed appropriately. I've mentioned before that Silver Shard can be crushing, particularly since it shuffled 17 minions into my wizard deck, causing me to lose a game despite having a 5-point advantage. Mass Transformation is equally brutal and can counter hand management factions where you are relying on specific cards being in your hand together at the right time. Together, these can be excruciating, as you find yourself with nothing but minions shuffled into your deck, and the few actions you have are buried on the bottom as you draw nothing but minions. Against some factions, this can cause several turns of delays, as it did to me. It doesn't hurt that the Russians can stall using Transformation and Baba Yaga. Using Toad to remove one minion while Baba Yaga replaces it is very powerful. Even Go I Know Not Whither can slow someone down significantly, with the randomness being the only mitigation, since shuffling is hard to prevent. When you combine the Russian minions with Magical Girl minions, you can be transforming minions to make them smaller and then destroying the smaller versions, banishing one minion and removing another. They make it very hard to keep a presence on a base, particularly when Power Maid is also kicking you off and Sakura Warrior is making it easier for Techno Magical Lass to destroy you. But if you don't try, you are conceding an uncontested base that would normally be very expensive, but it's crazy how quickly this team can regenerate it. Kiss the Sky spell plays an extra action and puts a minion into your hand. Water of Life gives you an extra action and puts a minion on top of your deck. You can have Go See My Sister out already, play these 2 actions, play Coordination on that base to draw the Water of Life minion, and play that with your regular minion, and both minions are already back in play. And there's even more recursion you can do after that. Both factions have some good utility cards that allow for a sustained attack. Baba Yaga could be an engine minion, but her ability is local, so Celestial Teleport can fix that problem and have you draw a card with Go See My Sister. They can destroy an action, which is always good to have as an option, but Purge the Demon is the best type of disenchant because it can depower Titans as well. They have more destruction with Coronet Attack, potentially destroying 2 minions in a turn. Bewitched is a surprisingly deep card that works well with Finished. There's a lot that this team can do. To fight this faction, you need to play quickly. The magical girls can recur themselves, but there is an upper limit to how much you can do this. If you keep killing their minions, or forcing them off the base, you can win a war of attrition. If you keep breaking bases quickly to subvert their engine, they won't be able to keep up. There was a reason why I had that 5 VP lead in the first place. One thing that this team does not do is have a very large burst. They aren't going to have 0 to breakpoint turns, not without help or some good luck. In fact, the magical girls can be very bad transformation targets if they come out in the wrong order. As great as it is to transform from a magic hat, it's terrible to transform into a magic hat. Rainbow Girl can come out at the wrong time, as that's a minion you want in your hand. She's the only non-unique magical girl, making her the most likely outcome by a slim margin. Defensive factions also have an advantage against this team because a lot of antagonistic plays are taken off the board. While it's hard to defend against Silver Shard and Mass Transformation, taking Transformation, Baba Yaga, Power Maid, Sakura Warrior, and Techno Magical Lass off the table can really reduce their potency, as this team is all about stalling until they can create their window of opportunity. I do think that this is a particularly top-heavy deck, putting a lot of emphasis on their upper minions. Their card draw helps them, but it all traces to one very good card, so if you don't see it, or if it gets destroyed, it can be a great setback, as this combination has no action recursion, and all that minion recursion makes it unlikely for them to exhaust their deck. Once actions are consumed, without base support, you shouldn't need to worry about them. I was pleasantly surprised and thoroughly annoyed by this team, and it's good to have a team that I would not have thought to use. Being able to lock down this pairing simplified a very problematic team swap that was preventing me from finalizing the teams. Given that this is an unlikely combination, and the Russians are new anyway, you may not have had experience with this combination. Check it out if you can. What do you think of the Magical Girl Russians? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this team. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.